Hey guys, welcome back to Extreme IE. In this video, we are going to define what a network is. Now, if you go out to Google, Yahoo, whatever your search engine of preference is, and you look up what is a network, you're probably going to find a lot of different definitions. And the reason for that is a network really isn't a thing. It's not like this microphone or, a computer or a monitor. It's not a thing. It's a combination of things that we would kind of call or wrap into the bucket of a network node, right? Things like routers and switches. You may know what some of these things are. You may not. That's okay, because as we go through the course, you're going to find out routers, switches, firewalls. It's going to be things like access points. I'll just put APs here for short. And all of these things are going to be connected together to form a network. And the idea of the network, the whole point of the network, is going to be for your computers, your printers, your servers to be able to share data with each other. Let me give you an example. I'm going to use the slide here as an example. So notice how this guy has two laptops. He's got a third machine here. He's got an iMac. Now, if you look, this looks like it may be the same document, but it may not be, right? So let's just assume here, for the sake of our demonstration, that these are two different documents that are on the laptop versus the iMac. Now, you'll notice that he's also focused over here on this laptop here. So let's assume that he has a third document here on this laptop. Now, without a network, how would he possibly share all of the different data between these machines? Well, the only way that he could possibly even come remotely close to sharing that would be to have a printer. Now, a printer, let's say if we go back, 20 years, a printer had to be physically cabled into this laptop via USB or, some other printer cable. Honestly, it's been so long, I can't remember what the other ones are. But so you'd have to physically cable into this laptop, into this printer, and then you'd print out this document, and then you'd have to retype it over here, right? Who wants to do that? So the idea with a network is to be able to say, hey, I don't even need to print this out. What I can do is I can share it from one laptop to another. I can share it from one machine to another. Maybe I can save this up into the cloud in my OneDrive, for example, and share it between all three computers. Or I can print it if I really want to. In today's day and age, now we have wireless printers where you don't have to cable anything at all. You plug it in, you join it to your wireless network, and then all three machines can have access to that one printer. And so this is the idea of a network. The idea of a network is multiple different network nodes together that form a network in order for us to be able to share data and resources between multiple different machines, like iPhones or smartphones, laptops, desktops, printers, things like that. And networks are going to have different network types. Not every network is the same, right? Just like a car. Not every car is the same. Yes, they're all cars. Yes, they're all trucks. Yes, they're all whatevers. But they have their own models, they have their own features, they have their own things. They're all different. They operate, for the most part, the same way, the same generic way. Again, the idea of a network is to be able to share data between these resources, but every network is going to be different. So, for example, you're going to have a local area network. Your LAN, or your local area network, is going to be the network that you deal with in your local office. So maybe you have, we're just going to say Office 1. So we'll say Office 1. Okay, we'll have another office over here. We're just going to put 2 in here so that I'm not wasting your time writing. Now, in your office, you're going to have multiple different laptops, desktops, printers. You're going to have users. You're going to have people that are there, and that is going to be your local area network. You're going to have a local network for those users to be able to communicate with each other, for them to be able to print. Maybe you have a chat, you have email, you have all these things going on. That's going to all consist of your local area network. But as part of that local area network, you're probably going to have a wireless network. So as part of your LAN, you're going to have, by the way, this symbol here that I keep drawing, these 3 lines, is going to be the symbol for wireless networks. So as you see that in your exam, in life, that's going to be the symbol for any type of wireless network. So as part of your LAN, you're going to have a wireless network. You may also have a campus network, right? Your campus might be, maybe you work for a college, for example, or maybe you're going to college. Your campus network is going to be just that, the network that deals with your campus, that deals with out there in, different buildings and whatnot. But all of that is still going to be part of your local area network. It's kind of going to be like an umbrella, right? Your LAN is going to have maybe your wireless network and your campus network underneath. That's completely different than your your wide area network. So imagine that you have Office 1 and 2. Your Office 2 also has its own local area network, or its own campus network, its own wireless network, could have its own data, its own voice network as well. they need to connect to each other. They need to be able to talk to one another, right? If maybe I'm here and I need to be able to send Sally a print, some type of document over here, whether that's through email direct or I need to print it out on her printer, I need to be able to connect to that other office and be able to say, hey, here's that document. And so you're going to have a wide area network. Now that wide area network might be handled by your internet service provider. Maybe that's AT&T, maybe that's Verizon. And maybe you're dealing with the wide area network because you work for Verizon or AT&T. Or maybe it's a joint venture, meaning maybe you and the ISP have a contract or an agreement where you both manage certain portions and pieces of this wide area network. In fact, I worked for an organization where the internet service provider simply provided us with the line to get from here to here, but we were the ones that actually handled the network communication between the two offices. And so the ISP just gave us the actual line. They said, here you go, here's the cable, here's the connectivity, knock yourselves out. So you're going to have different types of networks. You may also have, for example, a small office, home office network, or what we would call SOHO. I know that sounds kind of funny. But this could be a small branch office where, maybe there's only one or two users in that particular office. Maybe it's a shared office space where you have a sales user, a regional salesperson that goes in once or twice a week, sits in that office, and then they travel around the world or country. And maybe that's just one desk, right? So you're going to have these different kinds of networks. Now, the two that I do want to pick on really quick here, for the sake of time, I'll do it quickly. Your on-premise versus your cloud network. So your LAN obviously is going to be on-prem. Your wireless network is going to be on-prem. That means that the network gear, the routers, the switches, all of that stuff, all of the maintenance, that network is on-prem. It's local in that office. When you connect to the wireless network, you're connecting to an access point that's in that office versus something that's in the cloud. So when you have something in the cloud, we typically store our data up there. So you may have web servers, you may have an internet portal, intranet portal for your organization that your users are connecting to maybe file their benefits or something. I don't know, right? I'm making it up. You know what I'm talking about in your organization. So all of that data may be stored in the cloud. Maybe that cloud is Google. Maybe that cloud is AWS, Amazon Web Services. Maybe that's Azure or Azure. People say it differently. And so you're going to have that cloud network part of your LAN because maybe it's an extension of your LAN. So I'm not trying to make this more complex than it needs to be for you because you're new. But my point is that all of these different networks, they can all come together and form your network. Right? So when we say what is a network, it's not a thing. It could be a combination of all these different things and all these different types of networks that make up your network. And within those networks, you're going to have different types. You're also going to have different topologies. And what I mean by topology is how the network is connected. So for example, a point-to-point network, which is probably the simplest, where we have two devices that are directly connected. We don't generally do that anymore. 25 years ago, they would have a desktop, and they would have it physically connected to another desktop. And, you would have to, if you wanted to share data, you'd have one desktop talking directly to another. We don't really do that anymore. Now we have routers that are directly connected. And I know that concept's probably a little bit difficult to understand if you don't know what a router is, but don't worry, we'll get there and we'll come back to this and it will make sense, I promise. You may have a ring network where you have multiple routers, or you may have multiple switches that are connected, and they're connected in a ring. So if I need to send traffic this way, I send it that way. If I want to send it this way, I send it that way. If I have a break in the line here, that's okay, because this device can just talk that way and it comes back around. So you're going to have different network devices, routers, switches, firewalls, things like that, connected in different types of topologies in order to form that network that allow your users as well as yourself to share data, print, do things like that. So that essentially, at a high level, is what a network is. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and stay tuned because we're going to dive a lot deeper into some of these concepts, some of these things, so that you get a clearer view.